So the next thing I'm going to show you is a noop, which are these lovely little guys. Now, noops are used in lace much more often than baubles, and the reason for this is it actually uses a little bit less yarn and it's less kind of obstructive of the actual lace pattern. Now, what a bauble is, it's essentially a very short patch of short rows. So you would increase into a stitch by many times, maybe increase 5 stitches into that one stitch, turn your work, knit back or purl back across those 5 stitches, turn again and knit back or knit them all together, and do several rows. What a noop does is, instead of actually increasing directly into that stitch so many times, it has a pattern of increasing and yarn overs. Now, the yarn overs are what kind of throw people off, because if you do them too tightly, it's very hard to, actually make the noop work. But another thing that separates it from baubles is that it's actually worked over 2 rows of the knitting. So you can just do the right side part of the noop, and when you're purling back on the next row, that's when you actually work all the stitches back together. So you don't have to turn your work a whole bunch of times. It's actually very quick. And it's a lot lighter weight than a bauble. So the way you would do that, this is going to make this pattern look very, very funny, but that's okay, it's a swatch. So what you do is you pick the stitch that you want to noop. In this case, I'm going to go for this guy right here. Knit into it, yarn over, knit into it, yarn over, knit into it. And you want to do this in this kind of pattern. This is a 5-stitch noop, so it's always going to be a knit on either side. It's going to be an odd number. So it's knit into it, yarn over, knit into it, yarn over. You can do that as many times as you want, and then you have to knit into it at the end. And then you would just continue and knit across your row, or do whatever your pattern dictates. And then when you turn it around and you go to purl everything, you do purl it all together. Now, the funny part about that is it's a little difficult to get all of those stitches to work at the same time. But the trick is you don't have to do it all at the same time. So here's my 5 stitches of my noop. So I could try to purl all 5 stitches together all at the same time, but you can see that's kind of hard to pick up, isn't it? So you can do that if you want. You can kind of wiggle it. You could use a smaller gauge needle and the right hand needle if you want to. If you had a cable needle or just like a very small DPN, you could use that if you want to do all of them at once. Or you can just purl a couple of them together and then slip the next several stitches over, because essentially it's going to create the same stitch. So I'm just going to do all 5 at once, purl 5 together, and that's it. There's a noop on there. It looks a little funny because this is worsted weight yarn, and usually you wouldn't see that on a heavier yarn. But if you could imagine shrink this down, it actually looks just like this. You can kind of see that main stitch here with all of the other little added yarn overs and lumps behind it. So what's great about the noop is actually once you do a couple of them, it's not difficult at all. And it'll kind of be that little eureka moment, like, oh, okay, they're a lot less worrisome than something like a bauble, and I found them actually a little easier to master even than cables. So once you try it, it's actually not scary at all, and they're kind of exciting. So, unless you're doing 5 million of them like in this shawl, but they're great because they add almost no weight at all to the shawl. Very little texture, so you don't have to worry about it getting caught on something, but it looks amazing when held up to the light, and you just see this thickness to the fabric that is almost imperceptible when you touch it. So that is the beauty of a noop and the basic stitches of lace. And really anything else you want to do in lace is just going to be a variation of that. So become acquainted with those basic stitches and you are good to go.